You ever wake up one day, drive out to your old family land, and find an entire neighborhood where your woods used to be? No joke, I'm talking paved streets, little white picket fences, minivans unloading all of it on property you own. Not by mistake either, but because someone with a shiny watch and a smug smile decided you didn't count anymore. Yeah, that was me. My name's Hunter Stone, and this is how a regular guy ended up in the middle of a war over 47 acres of Colorado wilderness, a dead man's promise, and 92 houses nobody ever asked me if they could build. You know when you grow up hearing stories about how your granddad scraped together $6,000 in cash for a chunk of wild forest, 1971, right before the world went crazy with development? You sort of trust that legacy. I didn't always take care of it like I should have. Life got busy. Divorce, the kids, a job, fixing machines other folks don't even notice. But that land was always there, paid off, crystal clear title trees so thick you could lose a truck in them. Until one Saturday, I finally made the drive out, and instead of woods, I'm staring at a sign for Ridgeline Heights. That sign, by the way, cost more than my first car. So I'm standing there, mouth hanging open, when this woman in a pantsuit and a $10,000 Rolex waltzes up. She's got this haircut you only see on TV judges and an attitude to match. "Can I help you?" she says, and I can just smell the HOA offer. Turns out she's Cassandra Whitmore, president of everything she surveys. Or so she thinks. I pull out my phone, show her a photo of my granddad's deed, and she doesn't even blink. "Oh, you're the squatter," she says, like I'm the problem. "You know, under adverse possession, this land's been abandoned for years. It's legally ours. We paid taxes, filed the paperwork. Maybe it's time you moved on." I swear the way she said it, you'd think I was trying to scam her. Her lawyer confirmed it. She said they'd already sold 32 homes. She even handed me a business card with 2 fingers like it was contaminated and told me to talk to their attorney if I was confused. I just stared at her. My jaw clenched so tight I thought my teeth might crack. "Don't think for a second this is over," I told her. She just smirked, and I could feel her sizing me up like, who is this guy in boots trying to play with the big dogs? Let me tell you, I'd never been so mad and so lost at the same time. I went home, dug out every paper my granddad ever saved, property tax receipts, the deed, you name it. I'm no lawyer. I barely get through my electric bill. But I spent all night on Google learning about adverse possession, squatters' rights, all that garbage. Turns out if someone uses land openly, for a few years pays taxes, and the owner never contests it, well, they can claim it. In Colorado, it's just 3 years. But here's the catch, my granddad never missed a tax payment. The receipts were right there in his shaky handwriting. But these developers, they knew exactly how to play the game. They filed their paperwork, made everything look legit, and figured some absentee guy like me would never show. The next day, I called that attorney, Brian Keir, according to the card. He gave me the runaround, said my claim was frivolous, the houses were sold, families moved in, and I should just take a walk. Not 5 hours later, a woman from the developer's office calls to offer me $50,000 like my family's legacy is a used car they can lowball. 50 grand for 47 acres worth millions. That's what they thought of me. I let her talk all polite, then just laughed. "You think that's enough to buy me off? I'm not selling and I'm not backing down." She tried to sweeten it. "No lawsuits, no drama, just walk away." I hung up. I knew what I was up against. They had lawyers' money and a whole neighborhood filling up fast. But I also knew something else. Nobody messes with Frank Stone's land. Not while I'm alive. So I started watching. Every other day I'd park my truck up the road, camera in hand, taking photos of every house going up, every moving van rolling in. I kept my distance, never got in anyone's face, just kept notes, dates, deliveries, every little detail. If this was going to end up in court, I'd need a mountain of evidence. One day I got gutsy and walked the site during lunch break. Ran into a guy named Dave, construction manager, who didn't know me from Adam. He let it slip how fast they were rushing. Everything got a finish before the summer market, county approved it, blah, blah. I asked around quietly and started hearing whispers about skipped inspections and forged signatures. The more I learned, the clearer it got. They were cutting every corner in the book. Twist is these folks buying homes. They had no idea. I met Sarah Chen one afternoon, two little kids, her whole life savings in a house she thought was the American dream. She was just as much a victim as I was. And suddenly it wasn't just about me. It was about all of us who get bulldozed by the system. The next move was to get a real lawyer, someone who could actually go toe-to-toe with these snakes. Enter Lydia Chen, tough as nails, no nonsense. She took one look at the files I brought in my granddad's tax receipts, a zoning permit with a signature that looked off, and said, "Hunter, they didn't just bend the rules. They broke them. Let's burn it all down." She meant legally, but her eyes said otherwise. Now this is where things got wild. Developers started playing dirty. I got a cease and desist letter, classic. Then I noticed a black SUV parked near my house more than once. Some guy in a suit started following me at the grocery store, handing me a business card for Apex Investigations. He hinted I was being watched. Subtle, right? If their plan was to scare me off, they picked the wrong mechanic. I called Lydia, told her everything. She didn't even flinch, just told me to keep my head down and my camera up. "You're on the right side," she said. "Let them get desperate." And desperate they got. But here's the thing, desperation makes people sloppy. I started combing through old zoning records, found a permit with a forged date handwriting that didn't match stamps out of sequence. Got it checked out by the city, they confirmed it was bogus. Martha, an old official from the planning office, even remembered the project being railroaded through with questionable paperwork. That was the crack I needed. But wait, it gets better. My buddy at a local bank found some odd transactions, money moving through shell companies, fake consulting fees, whole 9 yards. Developers weren't just stealing land, they were laundering the proceeds, hiding the paper trail. I sent it all to Lydia. She was ecstatic. "They're going down," she said. And we moved fast, filed for discovery, started lining up witnesses, and turned the heat up in court. The trial itself was a circus, cameras everywhere, the whole community watching. When the judge finally ruled, it was like someone let me breathe again. Fraud. Plain and simple. The 92 homes mine by law. I could evict everyone's cell or, well, that's where the story could have ended with me as just another guy who got even. But standing outside the courthouse, cameras flashing, all I could think about was those families, Sarah and her kids, all the others who just wanted a home. So I did something nobody saw coming, not even Lydia. I set up a community trust, worked with a few good folks to make sure the families kept their homes at the price they paid. No new debt, no extra fees. The houses would stay in their hands. Legacy over profit. That was my granddad's way. The day we signed the papers at the community center, you should have seen those faces, shock, relief, a few tears. Sarah just hugged me and said, "Thank you for giving us a home." Man, that hits different than any court victory ever could. I could have cashed out, bought a new truck, started fresh somewhere else, but I didn't. Because sometimes the right thing costs you. Sometimes it pays you back in ways you never see coming. Standing on the ridge at sunset, I watched those families settling in. Kids chasing each other, dogs barking, grill smoke in the air. My land, their homes, our future. Maybe that's what legacy is really about. Now let me ask you, have you ever been pushed, cornered, told to back down when you knew you were right? Did you fight? Would you drop your story in the comments? Tell me where you're watching from and how you've stood up when the odds were stacked against you. Because I promise, good people can win. And if you want to hear more stories like this about regular folks holding the line, hit subscribe, drop a like, and share your truth. Justice is never out of reach if we stand together.